Hey, this is Alex Albrand. Welcome back to my channel. I run a sales and marketing consulting business. We've done nearly $10 million in sales. And in this video, I'm not talking about marketing, how to get more clients. I'm not talking about sales or closing deals or training a sales team. This is the missing piece to so many entrepreneurs and business owners' growth. And it's finance, right? Lines of credit, SBA loans, getting a mortgage as an entrepreneur, getting credit cards as a startup entrepreneur. So many people, they watch videos online, they see all this misleading information from probably people who have never done it. They've never gone through the journey of starting a business with, I was 18 when I started. I, of course, didn't have a credit score. I was just starting out. I didn't have income from a W-2 job to get a credit card or get a loan. I was starting at completely zero. And I went all the way up to getting a business line of credit, getting an SBA loan for more than my net worth at the time. And then now, getting a mortgage for millions of dollars as an entrepreneur, never having a W-2 in that time frame. And again, I say this is the missing piece to so many entrepreneurs because they're great at marketing, great at customer service, great at sales, but they run out of cash or they run out of liquidity. They don't understand how many months of cash do they have in the bank? Where can they tap cash from? Can they tap it from a line of credit, a HELOC, another property? Like they just don't know what tools are out there. And look at 2008, look at 2020, even the best entrepreneurs, the best investors, you could be right, but you can run out of cash. So number one, never forget the first rule in business, which is don't run out of money. A lot of people love talking about all these other concepts and you'll watch other videos and they talk about mindset and that's very important, but don't run out of money. If you're staying in business, you're going to eventually figure things out. So I'm going to go phase by phase in this video. And if you want to pause and even take some notes or comment below, I'm happy to help. And again, this is not financial advice for your situation. I'm just sharing what I did, lessons I learned, and I hope it helps. So phase one is you're a startup entrepreneur. You're not making a lot of money yet. It's more of a concept, right? You don't have a thriving company. You have an idea, which is totally fine. We've all been there, but you have to be realistic. Don't go for the SBA loans, in my opinion. Don't go for the lines of credit because I started my business at 18 years old. I had like $2,000 in the bank. I had a little car that was worth like $3,000. I didn't have rich parents. I didn't have parents that would co-sign on a loan for me, which is a blessing because it made me get creative and figure all this finance stuff out. Whereas, of course, there's the kids in high school with the nice BMW and kind of everything's taken care of, but that's the minority. The majority have to figure things out. And so I had to figure it out. And I knew from my trying that I wasn't going to get a business loan. I wasn't going to get a line of credit, but I could get a business credit card. And the mistake also that you're going to see online when you maybe look this up is don't put for the income what you think you're going to make. You have to be honest and say what you're making right now. There's starter cards. There's business cards that, they might give you $1,000 or $2,000 if you're just starting out. So don't overstate and try to blow out your income. Like, I'm going to make $1 million my first year in business. It's just not the right thing to do. And it's not going to work. So be honest about, hey, I'm making $1,500 a month right now with my little business. And maybe they might give you a few grand. So that's what I did when I started. I got a business card. I also got a business card at 0%. And also just know any type of credit card, line of credit, loan, they want to be repaid and they will be repaid. So don't believe, but it's a business credit card. If it doesn't work out, I could just shut down the business. Whenever you get a business credit card, to my knowledge, business credit card, anything, you're personally guaranteeing that debt. So don't believe the people out there. They haven't done it. I promise you, if you get an Amex, if you get any business credit card, you're going to see in the fine print, you personally guarantee the debt. So the benefit though is that it's not on your personal credit score. So let's say you have a 0% card, and this is what I did. I had a 0% card and I did some advertising on it. I set up a website. I got my basic expenses going, but I had a year to pay it off and I could carry the balance, but it didn't affect my personal credit as I was building my score. In my opinion and experience, a business credit card would only report to your personal credit if you're delinquent and in default. I'm sure there's situations where that's not the case, but for the vast majority, if you get a 0% card, you let the balance kind of carry, you're not paying interest, but it also doesn't show up on your personal credit. But again, that's just with your credit. You still are personally liable if you don't pay that back as a business. So again, you're a small company. Don't think you're like these billionaires that, yes, they can get some business debt that has nothing to do with their personal finances. So that's what I did. I started with that, grew my business. I used the 0% balance, but I never missed a payment. I never was late. I never got charged interest. So I built a good history with Amex is who I use. So that's phase one. All right, phase two. And this is for someone that has been in business for maybe 2 to 3 years. They file taxes as a business. They have an accountant. They have a good P&L, profit and loss. They have things going for them, right? And if you're a startup, not that you have nothing going for you, but I mean in terms of finance, because you could be an insanely talented entrepreneur, but banks don't really care. Institutions, they don't care. They look at logic. It's cold. It's not emotional. It's saying, hey, can you pay us back? That's it. Because they're risking depositors' money when they give you a loan, when they give you some debt. I got a business line of credit through my business bank. Not a huge line. It was 20 grand, decent interest rate, but it was great because I could always tap it, pay it back, and it was super flexible. So a lesson you want to learn from this video is liquidity is value. That's a quote from Sam Zell. He's one of the best real estate investors of all time. Liquidity in real estate business, anything is value, meaning let's say you have a client. Maybe it's a much bigger job than you usually do, but you're going to have to shell out some upfront cost. And maybe they want to work with you. Instead of you doing a $10,000 job, maybe it's a $100,000 client. But if you have a line of credit or you have some liquidity to pay some of those upfront costs to service them or buy the equipment, whatever you need to do, that's value. That's an opportunity that you could take advantage of and then pay it right back. And of course, they could not pay you and you could be stuck. So I'm not saying, again, none of this is like guaranteed. Anytime you take out debt or a loan or anything, there's always risk of, hey, I have to pay this back. And it's personally guaranteed 99.9% of the time. I got a line of credit. It gave me some flexibility and it was cash. Whereas, of course, a credit card, you can make certain purchases with it, but certain vendors or certain things you're going to do, you have to write a check. You have to pay cash or a wire transfer. You can't do that with a credit card. So a line of credit gives you liquidity. It's there when you need it. So liquidity and cash are different. I could have 50 grand in cash, but I could have 500,000 in liquidity, right? Maybe I have a great business line of credit that gives me 400 grand in accessible funds, but it's not money that is sitting in my bank account or that I am utilizing. Sometimes you have to think about, hey, even if I don't need a lot of cash, it's great to have liquidity and access. Do it when you don't need the money. The issue is a lot of people, they have a great opportunity, a great client they could work with, or they want to grow and maybe they're in a bad spot. Maybe a client didn't pay, maybe they have to make payroll. Then they start looking for financing. The issue with that is banks, institutions, they want to give you money when you don't need it because you could pay it back easily. Or if you don't want to pay back, they could take your assets and they'll be fine. But when you do need the money, they don't want to lend to you. Imagine if you have a house, you want to get a HELOC and you lose your job. They're going to say, oh, you have all this equity in your house, but I mean, you make no money. So we're not going to give you a HELOC, even if you might have amazing equity in the property. I'm just giving you guys everything. I'm going a little off track. But again, phase two is you have some tax returns. You have some things going for you. A bank is going to take you seriously. So I got an SBA loan. It was 150 grand, I believe, SBA 7A. And it was so much documentation. Somehow it got done in like 30 or 40 days, but it's because when they needed something, I would be up till midnight giving them all the paperwork and all the documentation. But with an SBA loan, that's a 10-year note usually, unless you're doing like buying a property with it. But let's say the average SBA 7A, it's a 10-year loan. And you have to pay certain fees up front and things like that. But it's almost a mortgage on your business because you have your monthly payment. It's going to be paid off on this schedule over the next 10 years. It's good that it's a bit long term because obviously businesses month to month have fluctuations, but it's not like, hey, here's 150 grand, you're going to pay it back in a year. So it gives you flexibility so you can long term say, hey, let me get this 150 grand, invest in my business, and then the monthly payments, let's grow. So those are nominal. So your line of credit with your business, that's something where depending on the institution, hopefully they don't just take it away from you, but you can access that, take the money out, put the money back in, and it flows back and forth. Whereas with an SBA loan, I had it for a few years, then I paid it off. With a loan like that, take it out if you need it, but just know the difference of, hey, this loan, I'm paying more upfront fees. And if I pay it back, when I pay it back, if I pay it off early, I have to then reapply for a new one and pay more fees. Whereas with a line of credit, it's kind of there ready to go for usually a good amount of time. So if you're a phase two entrepreneur, these are just tools that you could use, not saying you should, but that's what you can look at. So phase three, as an entrepreneur, you have some cash in the bank, you have some liquidity, your business is growing consistently, and you're like, Alex, I want to buy a house for my family, I want to buy a rental property or whatever you want to do. But to buy that, you probably want a mortgage. You want to get lending from a bank. And at the end of the day, if you have cash in the bank, you have a good down payment, good personal credit, you have things figured out with your taxes, you're growing your income from your business, it's not that big of a deal. Would they prefer a W-2 employee to you? Yes, that's just a fact. But if you have these things in order, you can figure it out. There's lenders that work with entrepreneurs or self-employed people, so it's not a big deal. But don't try to then get a mortgage after being in business for a year or even 2 years. They want to see how long have you been in business, how consistent has your business grown. They might even look at your website, your social media. So that's what they did with me. But as an entrepreneur also, you might then be seen as more risky, therefore having to put a bigger down payment. So with FHA and kind of like traditional conventional loans, there's a big possibility that you won't qualify for that, depending on the loan size and, again, a lot of different factors. So you would rather wait for the right time. And this is what I did, have at least 20% down just for the down payment. But you need 20% down for most jumbo loans. Then you need to have reserves for 12 to 15 months of cash in the bank for what your eventual mortgage is going to be, your taxes, your insurance, your monthly obligations. Buying a home is not all logical, it's emotional. So you don't want to have your family look at the house, you love it, and then there's all these hurdles that you wish you would have known. Just in my opinion and experience as an entrepreneur that got a mortgage that was, millions of dollars of loan balance and debt, which isn't a bad thing. It's just, again, I started at zero. I worked my way up this kind of finance ladder. Better to wait, have your situation more than figured out. Just have it to where you have down payment, you have reserves, you have more cash in the bank, you have liquidity, great personal credit. Everything is figured out so that when you want to buy that dream house, it's not a matter of, I should be able to do this, but I'm not going to get a loan. You want everything totally figured out. Be honest. Be practical about what phase am I in as an entrepreneur? What situation am I in with my finances? And realistically make decisions based on that. I've been doing this for a long time, almost 10 years, and nothing's overnight. So don't think I'm going to grow my business in 9 months, buy my dream house. It takes time, right? Most people watching this video, if you just follow my journey and kind of what I've done in regards to, again, finance, lending, liquidity, cash, you may be in a good position. Again, just sharing my experience, but thanks so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, comment below and have a great day.